Hey, what's up? This is Chosen. Going to be joined by TinyPenny, a big-time player in Diablo Immortal, 7,000 resonance, all that good stuff. And I want to get some thoughts from a high-level Diablo Immortal player who has tested out Diablo 4 and see what their opinions are and how they compare to mine and all that. So let's get into it. What's up, Tiny? How you doing?
Not too bad, Chosen. How you doing?
Hey, hanging in there. So real quick, you want to just give us like the 30-second rundown on who you are and what you do and kind of the basics and all that good stuff?
Yeah, Tiny Penny, been streaming on Twitch for probably about close to 5 years. I'll hit 5 years in June. Mainly do survival games, but here recently I got sucked back into the Diablo franchise again, into Diablo Immortal, and after starting to get invested and spending money in it, then I just started streaming it again instead of just staying hidden and only playing survivor-based games.
I got
But
you. Awesome. Okay.
yeah,
Now you said back into the Diablo community. Did you play some of the other games? Diablo 1, Diablo 2, Diablo 3?
I got into D3. I wasn't streaming at the time, but my buddy, when I first got my first gaming PC, saw I was playing like League of Angels and I wasn't into WoW, and he was like, "Hey man, you should try this Diablo game out." And I played season 5 and 6 when those came out, and also ran through the story mode so I could get into the franchise. Um, and then I fell off for a few seasons, came back, tried it again, and then after Immortal came out, I actually went because I saw, oh, D3 has a new season coming out in August. And D4 is going to be coming out around the corner. Let me remember how to play Diablo, because I knew it wasn't going to be like Immortal. Um, and I went and played D3 for a couple of weeks, tried out the Barb and the Crusader because those were the only two characters I never played at all throughout my seasons. And I was like, all right, I got the gist of the game again. I'm going to go back to playing Immortal. And then after being able to test the beta, I was like, yeah, it's definitely got that original Diablo feel of moving around with your mouse versus WASD like Immortal has. And uh,
Oh, so you play with
definitely,
keyboard and use WASD on Immortal?
yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
I plugged the controller into my PC and that's how I played when I played Immortal.
Okay.
Yeah. So in Diablo Immortal, like max is like 7,200 resonance or something, right?
7560.
7560, and you have how much resonance?
7050.
Which is insanely high, isn't it? Isn't like I mean I played
Yeah.
Immortal a little bit. I think I had like 2,000 resonance or something, and I thought like the best players they always have like 5,000 resonance.
Yeah, originally before I started streaming the game, I did like 1 and 2 star gems, got everything to rank 10 minus like my pants at the time. I think I had it to rank 8, 2 star followers burden because I would started out as a necro, played it for like 6 months, and then I was like, hey, look at these 5 stars, man. They at level 5 they get 15% magic find. Man, screw these 1 stars. let's 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 cycle out some of these 5 stars and level them all up to 5, and then I was close to that 3,000 res mark. Got my 3,000 res, and then I was like, I feel like this 90% magic find's not really doing anything. But my buddy convinced me. He's like, man, I'm still using the 1 and 2 star gems, and you're getting way more drops than I am. I was like, all right, maybe it's a thing. Maybe it's a thing. Cool. And then that's where the addiction kind of started. Was
Uh-oh.
I was like, oh man, let's I was top of the leaderboards for Necro. It's myself and Amber Turd on our server. And then it was like, as she got stronger, I was like, well, I want to stay competitive with her. We were already the top 2 Necros in battlegrounds for us. And then she got 5K before me, another guy in our clan. got 5K, then I got 5K, and then they went to 6K. I went to 6K, and then I was like, you know what? I want my goal to be before my birthday. I want to get 5,000 res. I did that. And then I was like, before Christmas, I want to get all these gems to 10, just so I can have all the unlocks. And all of them were 5 out of 5, minus my blood soaked. I did make a video of my blood soaked journey because it took months to finally get a 5 out of 5. And it was literally, I don't know how far you followed the updates with Immortal, but the night before they came out with the random loot chests you could buy to potentially get a 5 out of 5 star, I bought mine off the market. I finally got one off the market. Then I also bought that chest, and it was like, hey, you got a 5 star. And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
Oh,
So
jeez.
I picked one of the new random 5 stars. Like I got the Hellfire 5 out of 5 just to, well, I got one. Might as well pick one. And it's been fun. Gotta say, if I could do it again, I would have probably stayed at 3K and dumped more money into secondaries, because there are some tanky players out there with
Into
rank
secondaries, what do you
8s,
mean?
rank 9s, the tourmalines, the
Oh, the
rubies,
gems. Oh, yeah, yeah.
all
Oh,
those
okay.
gems.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
the
because
I always
our
hated
server
that.
was kind of dry.
I always hated
So,
that in Diablo Immortal, how they had both of the
mm,
things were gems. Like you have the
yeah,
like Bloodsoaked Jade is a gem and Tourmaline is a gem. It's just people were always confused trying to talk to him or talk about him.
yeah, yeah.
Well then, lastly, as we move on to Diablo 4, just so people have the context, how much money are we talking about to get to like 3,000 resonance, 5,000 resonance, and like 7,000 resonance? Like what? I don't know if it's like a couple
So,
thousand or.
So initially, and what was weird is, so if you log into the game still today, the shop shows you can only buy the $100 pack. But if you actually go to battle.net and you click on Diablo Immortal and you click on the list of gems from, or the orbs from 99 cents all the way down to 100, they unlocked a $200 bundle that gave you 15,000 orbs for the flat price of 200, um, which after tax all that it came to 218 per bundle. But I did the math for my 5K because it took me 35K to get to 5K, and that's like including everything to this point that I had spent, like buying the weekly packages, all of that. But I bought 527 $100 orb packs, and I did the conversion. If I would have had the $200 orb pack from the beginning, I was owed over 150,000 orbs.
Oh my god! Oh,
And
the pack was that much better. The $200 pack was that much better.
yeah, so the difference is 600 orbs overall. Like if you bought two $100 packs versus just buying the $200 pack, but just because I had only bought those $100 packs, that's how many orbs I lost out on, because they didn't tell anybody till like months into the game that they, from their website, it said, hey, because we finally listened to you guys. You guys have spent multiple packs. Here's an easier way to buy orbs.
Oh my
And
goodness.
we were just like, you gotta be kidding me. Like I even put in a ticket, and they said, well, that's a BattleNet Activision like separate thing. You could do a Reddit post about it and post on the forums. And I was
Do a
like,
Reddit post about
I I
it.
I can't believe that's your response on Blizzard support, telling me to go to Reddit, the king of trolls, and cry about whale problems, saying I'm
that
owed.
that is funny. That's
I
like
was
that's
like,
like
nah, I'm just gonna cut my losses there. I'm just gonna buy the $200 packs from now. And I eventually just started keeping track of my monthly spending. Like every month I'd refresh my amount. I had an Excel sheet, and I'd just go through all my transactions and go, because people would ask me, all right, how much did you get to 3K, and I was like, honestly, I don't remember how much it took me for 3K. 5K, I knew. 6K, I wasn't keeping track of just because I was buying it. And 7K, I was just like, well, I haven't hit 7K yet. But then when I finally got it, I was like, you know what? I don't know how much I spent, but I have a overall total that I've spent in the game to this date as of February 28th. So I haven't done the month of March, but I do buy the weekly packs, the battle passes, all that stuff.
And what was it to get to 7K?
So at 7K, when I did all my taxes and stuff like that, I was at 74,000, and that was right around the time I got that blood soaked. But I was buying orbs to run crests to sell my gems on the market because I had done 2 times trying to buy a blood soaked off the market using platinum, and I'd miss it, and then I'd be stuck with the platinum. Or I would buy because to buy a 5 out of 5 off the market max price is $1,250. And I was like, all right, let me buy orb packs because I know the only thing I'm missing as soon as I get this blood soaked jade, it'll give me the 100 residents I need, which will bring me to 7K, and then it'll unlock that last legendary gem, my echoing shade, and I have all the dupes to get it to level 5. I have all the dust, and it turned out I was short one echoing shade to get that final upgrade, but I had enough platinum left over. I just bought the one off the market and stopped at 7050. That's where I said, like, people were like, oh, are you going to 7560? Are you going to go to 7100? I was like, nope, I'm done. Like, all of them are 10. I've gotten everything maxed out to where I have the 160 unlock for the awakened gems. I don't need, because the next unlock is getting all those rank 5s inside max to 10. So it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah. And would you say so about 75,000 to get to 7K? Would you say that was like good luck or bad luck, or what would be like the
Oh,
range?
I had terrible luck.
Oh, so you think
Like,
somebody could get to 7K with like maybe 55, 60,000 or
oh, I 100% think it'd be maybe 50K is probably about average now, just because
the
to
better
get to
packs?
5K now with the better packs. I've met 2 players. One of them was in our clan. He got it for 17K. Then we met another guy from another server that we constantly do battlegrounds with, and he hops in our Discord all the time, and he got it for a little over 12K. And that's not, like, the 17K player, he was including all the separate packs that he bought, those bundles, whatever. But the other player, he was like, nope, this is my dollar amount. When I started the journey, I listened to all you guys, like all your mistakes, all that stuff. And why I had spent so much money also was nobody had any data on the gems when we were wailing out. Like, sure, like JT All Business, he was making videos on some of the gems, but he maxed out a character in a week and he wasn't leveling like all the other random gems just to show them off right away. We were still doing that and experimenting. And we were talking in discords together like, hey, how lucky have you been to find this gem? And that's when we found out like blood soak seemed to be like the rarest drop out of all of them, and that's what like everybody was running in the game. uh so people
Oh, I didn't
took their
actually know that.
time.
The different gems have different drop rates.
Yeah, we didn't find like the actual like full meta of like, oh, every like 500 runs you should be able to get a blood soaked, or like I didn't do an active counter that way. I just did, we found a, like, typically it's every 3 to 4 runs you were guaranteed a white chest. Sometimes you just have that good luck where you could get 4 or 5 white chests in a row, and then you'd have a cold spurt. We also had the theory of you had better luck on Fridays. We called them streamer Fridays because all the streamers are streaming running crests. Most people get paid. That maybe there was a hidden loot system that Blizzard was actually doing to increase the drops to get people to spend more. Like, oh, I just got a 5 out of 5 howlers. I had so many 5 out of 5 chip of the stone flesh and howlers. Like, I made so much platinum selling those until howlers got boring to people. Nobody wanted to buy them. So I even upgraded my howlers is the rank 7 inside my bottled hope, and it's a 5 out of 5 because I upgraded it because nobody wanted to buy it. And this was before server merges happened. I was like, well, nobody wants to buy it. I have the dupes. Might as well level it up. Just in case. I also thought, like, well, I'm playing all these melee characters now. Maybe I'll want to swap out one of my gems, like maybe knock off a Zwenson and throw in the Howlers if I got it to rank 10. But after getting that blood soaked, it was like, nope, I don't need to invest anymore. But yeah, the biggest thing we saw was seeping bile and blood soaked were the most sought after gems. But
Yeah,
seeping
even I
bile
knew
still
that.
seemed like it dropped way more than blood soaked ever did. And then we had small other theories where if you had a certain number of gems in your pack and you threw the rest in your stash, that it would start feeding you the gems you were close to leveling up to. And sometimes it felt like it worked, other times it felt like it was
Yeah,
completely
that's getting
random.
a little bit tinfoil hat. Okay.
Yeah. It's just like when you're running dungeons and you're like, oh yeah, last one, guys, and you write that in the chat to see if you can get a green
I've
drop, sort of
heard
one of them.
I've heard so many. I mean, playing so many
Yeah.
thousands of hours of Diablo, I've heard every tinfoil hat theory there
Yeah.
is. But yeah, no, thanks for the background on Immortal and 75K. That is impressive. So yeah, but are you so then as we move into talking about Diablo 4 here real quick for a little bit, are you happy that you can kind of dive in and play Diablo 4 without having to spend, or does somebody like you that spent a lot of money on Diablo Immortal, do you like to have the advantage of being able to spend? How do you feel about Diablo 4
No,
not being pay to win?
so honestly, I really hate the idea of play to win. Like, sure, I did it here. I was really fortunate with it was our active month, so I got a lot of overtime, all that stuff. So I had plenty of extra money to do this. But typically, like, I could play a game for years, and sure, there may be some content here or there. Like, played Hero of the Storm for years. I don't actually have an actual count how much money I've spent, but I bought cosmetics for the characters I play. Like, I don't mind spending money for cosmetics. Like, I'm a sucker for cosmetics. But the fact for you to become stronger, you were gated by spending money. Like, even from the free to play aspect, like, there's so many things that I would love free to play players to be able to do in a game and not have that leg to stand behind where this game is trash because it's all pay to win. And like Diablo, like if there's a cosmetic for your mount, I would love to get that. Any cosmetics for your characters, yeah, I'm gonna be a sucker for that. But other than like if they did a battle pass thing, I'd probably pay for that. But there should be nothing as far as I could tell in D4 that would ever warrant this having to constantly, like, even if it was a monthly subscription, I'd be fine with that. Like WoW had it for has it for years. Like I did a 1 month trial with WoW and didn't like it. It wasn't for me, but uh so many games have those things that as long as they kept it stagnant, like, all right, we have the option to buy Ultimate or the deluxe version. Basically, what we're getting out of that, oh, you get a couple of cosmetics out of it and a 4-day early access. So there's not much there, and I don't mind that at all. Like anything that keeps the wife happy from going, well, you waste all your money on a video game.
Yeah, I can imagine after getting 7K resonance how those conversations went.
Oh yeah, get no leg to stand on when she likes to spend money on our boys. Like, oh, you did this. Oh, I'm gonna be hearing this for years. All right, let's next conversation. Let's go.
Yeah. Well then, what were your overall thoughts on the Diablo 4 beta? Like do you like the game? What do you like? What do you not like? How are you feeling so far?
So far, what I've enjoyed, because I did get to play all three characters. I did get to get them to 25. I didn't really, other than playing like the world boss, I got to try it on two of the characters, not all three, to see how it would fare out, because I did miss one of the world boss events. I really like that you could still do stuff as solo, but at least for the beta right now, with them giving us the bonus XP being in a party, that was kind of cool, because it's similar to like Diablo Immortal, where you can have better buffs by being in a warband party with your warband members. It brought that kind of feel back, but I liked that the gameplay was new and refreshing. The dungeons were not as, like, even doing a dungeon just to XP farm, it didn't feel like a repetitive nature like it does where you're running the same cutscene over and over again in Immortal.
Yep.
Um, I like, even though we were gated in a smaller zone, it's way different than D3. It's more open world. More like there's not as many different maps as like Immortal has so far. Like that could always change, but there's so many zones. Like we were obviously able to see the the amount of how massive that map is going to be and why there's mounts in the game, even though there's going to be fast teleports. And I really like how fast we are able to teleport. Like, oh yeah, there's an event on me, and we're just able to port back to town,
Yep.
go into the teleport, and boom, you're right there in the fight. Versus waiting like 15 seconds to actually teleport somewhere.
Yep, I said that in
Um,
my video how the town portal's 4 seconds, and I love that. It's a good change.
Yeah, like I would like to see, like, obviously with this being the beta, they're probably gonna do some more things. Like it would be nice to actually have that ability to click on your party, like when we press the social button, see who's in our party, and go, all right, let me teleport to player instead of having to
Yep.
do the
Yep.
back and forth thing. But other than that, like being able to, like, at least right now, max 25 costs like 2,800 gold to completely wipe out your entire
Yep.
skills and go,
About
you
that.
know what? I want to test this build. Let me see how this is. Oh man, I don't really like this. Oh wait, I can just right click, delete this skill, refund it, so I don't have to do the full refund. Or you could just go, nah, let me go back to this build, or let me tweak this one. Like, I like how there's going to be so many builds instead of people just going, oh yeah, that's the meta. That's what people are running. Like, that's probably still going to
Yeah,
happen with like
give it
some of the
3 months.
characters,
Yeah.
but it's people can find what works for them, and that's what I've always liked. Like with Immortal, I went out and tested every Lego for every character I played. I'd try and get every single legendary and see what was viable for PvE, challenge rifts, and PvP. And I actually took some troll builds in those battlegrounds for Immortal that you never saw, like barbarians run or monks run. And some of them were really effective. Others were like, please switch back to your normal build. Like, we don't want you to do that. And I see this game being the same way, where Barbarian has all these party buffs, rallying cry, war cry. Like, there's so much stuff that you can build into the rogue. You could, I liked going full support where I was doing poison everywhere, so it was overall tick damage. The sorceress, you could do chained lightning, or I had a lot of fun with the fire. Um, and that was kind of like the rend with the barbarian putting that bleed on. Like I like tick damage, so it's really nice to see all these different things, and I'm curious to see what the necro is going to get. Like obviously seeing the preview where it's like call forth this a bone skeleton, you see him rip the flesh off their victim, like that drew me right in. I was like, just that skill alone is hilarious to me.
I was trying to
Um,
look up the poll here on my channel. Go ahead. Sorry, I was gonna because
uh,
okay.
yeah, like I'm really excited. Like, obviously, Diablo Immortal played Necro for 6.5 months. One of my favorite characters. Didn't play him in D3 at all. I never bought that expansion. So, Immortal was my first intro into the Necro. And seeing the preview for D4, the Necro looks sick. I never played D2, so the Druid is a character that looked really, really enticing to me. And because it's a new character, I want to play it, and it looks fun. A shapeshifter that can morph into all these things, that looks really fun to me.
Now you never bought the DLC for Diablo 3, so 75K on Immortal is fine, but you draw the line at $15 DLC. Is that?
Well, it was the fact I wasn't aware of
No,
it.
I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, like because obviously when I got into D3 in '06 or 2016, I it was just like, oh yeah, download Diablo, get into here, and I really fell in love with Monk on D3, so I didn't really try many other characters. It took a couple of seasons, and then I was like, all right, I'll do Sorcerer. All right, I'll do the Witch Doctor. Like I dabbled around, but then I kept coming back to the Monk. So it was like I played what I liked, and that's how
Gotcha.
I feel like this game's gonna go. Like we'll probably see a bunch of people on launch through maybe the first 6 months. You'll see a bunch of people playing random characters, and then they're gonna go, "Nope, this is my character. This is the character I like," and they're just gonna always play it, even with introductions to seasons. And there might be people that go, if it's like D3, where you can opt in or out to play the season or not. Um, it'll be nice to see what people choose as their main class.
Yeah, and going back to what we were talking about with Druid and Necro coming up this weekend for the open beta, it's polling on my channel is showing 60-40 in terms of which one they're more hyped about. 60% for
Mm-hmm.
Necro and 40% for Druid. So pretty good split there.
Yeah, it's not bad. If I was looking at your channel, I would be bumping that Druid up. But I'm excited to play both. Like, obviously, Necro has always been the love of me and Immortal. Uh, I wish I would have tried it on D3, but the fact that I've heard so much about how the Druid was in D2, and they said it felt clunky to them getting to try the closed beta, and they liked the way the Druid transitions were. I was like, you know what? I was just excited that you said there was a shapeshifter. Like, I like playing the random classes that do different things, because everybody knows what a sorceress or a wizard is. Everybody knew what a monk was, and a barbarian, a crusader, like all these things. And then they go, all right, here's your 5 classes for now. Like, who knows? They could bring the other classes back into the game later down the
Yeah,
road.
Paladin,
But
Necro, or I mean, Paladin and Crusader and yeah, all the stuff could.
yeah.
Amazon, there's so many different ways they could go. Demon Hunter's not in there. Yeah, so then lastly, I want to ask you, what's your favorite thing about Diablo 4, your least favorite thing about Diablo 4, and then to close, I'll have you rate it 1 to 10 so far. So start with like your favorite thing in Diablo 4.
Um. So I think the skill tree is probably by far my favoriteest thing. Versus we can get you can get the legendaries that you need that may tailor to a skill that you may or may not have, but um, the fact that there's no cube that you have to go change what it is you want,
Yet,
even though
yet.
there is the yet there we do have the upgrading a yellow to a legendary, which is a really cool aspect to the game with that. um but I really like how massive the skill trees are, versus, all right, here's your 7 skills to choose from, this is all you have, but you can change what your skills do over time. And you're like, well, these literally show you the infinite possibilities of what you could make each of your skills do. Or you could just go, oh, I just want the basic skill and I want to tier more into crit chance or fortify or whatever the case may be, just to give you that extra bonus. And then later down the road, you could be like, no, I actually want to go further down the tree, like what we weren't able to really experience. We could get to their ultimate, but we couldn't get to that last little bottom section that you could completely rework your build once you get the amount of points to find out, oh yeah, I want this. Like, I like that, at least right now, the possibilities seem endless to me to build whatever skills I want.
Okay, cool. And then what about your least favorite? The thing that that you just don't like about what you saw so far in Diablo 4?
So far, the only complaint I have is the occasional, like, I only had it really bad happen to me once, but I had my stream cancel on me twice because there was a memory leak in that zone. Like, it immediately would ping my task manager because I'd have it open up on one of my monitors and it would show, oh, Diablo 4. Like, the highest one I ever saw that I thought it was completely absurd was there was an 11 million data leak for Diablo. And I was like, that can't be right. That's got to be like, I got to be reading a number wrong. And that's when my stream just started stuttering. And then it
happened
said,
to all of
up,
us, yeah.
connecting. Yeah. And I was just like, man, I haven't seen that in forever.
Yeah, it blows up your computer. It's a full on memory leak.
Like, I felt the heat rising in the room. And I was like, man, I got to turn off my heater real quick. Like, it just got hot.
Yeah, it's like one of those Southwest areas, yeah.
Other than that, like, which obviously we're playing the beta, and just like when you play a stress test beta where you're there to find out what it can handle, like, you got to take that risk. So
yeah,
I don't have any real hard complaints, I guess.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Well, then lastly, I was going to ask you to rate it 1 through 10 then in terms of like potential for Diablo 4 as a game and how you are and how much you're excited about it and stuff, like 1 through 10.
So if I compared all three, like, because obviously I wasn't that big of a D3 player, but I was a huge Diablo Immortal player, and I see myself being a huge D4 player. Like, you saw the crazy amounts of bots for anybody being on leaderboard for D3, that if you wanted to be the best of the best, everybody was running bots for bounties. And here in D4, we can click reset dungeon straight from the map. There's no log out, log back in, log out, log back in. No macro to be set. You just click and do. I would have to say, as it stands right now, and for what I've seen, what I've heard people talk about, I'll give it a flat 7 out of 10, if not an 8 out of 10, just because it's just going off the content I've played so far and what I know is available in the game. Like, I'm really excited to test the mounts. I know once I get the ability to do that and see all the zones, like, I really love the cutscenes in the game, and the fact you customize your character and you see that character instead of just a voice image of your face responding to the text. You're seeing whatever character you created in that cutscene. Like, that's what really brings it up, that they took that time to focus on all these cutscenes and all the different content in there. I could probably say a firm 7.5, 8 out of 10.
I was gonna say it's funny that you're saying a 7 or an 8 because I've been saying 7.5. That's my grade. So that's where and I've heard a lot of like my other friends like DM, he's like a 6.5, 7 or whatever. So yeah, I feel like most people in general consensus, the game looks like it has potential, but maybe isn't quite there to be like that amazing thing yet. But yeah, is there anything in closing here, final thoughts that you wanted to make sure and get out or talk about before we wrap up?
Is all I gotta say is the people gotta go try it for themselves. Like, I've seen so many posts where people are going, up, it's another pay to win game. It's just gonna be like Diablo Immortal. I've had to tell so many people, like, get Diablo Immortal out of your head. That is a mobile game that has PC access.
Yep.
You can play on tablet, you can play on PC, you can play on your phone. But it's not D3, it's not D4, but you can play on console, you can play on PC. Go out and try the game for yourself. Like, I gave away a couple of codes from either somebody in the stream giving me a KFC coupon thing that had the beta code, and I saw that, you have to get them by this date. So I literally went down the store, got a KFC sandwich, uh, tested it out, and I was like, yeah, it's whatever. But I got the code, gave that away to a buddy of mine because he's like, I'm on the fence because he beta tested a few of the games and got disappointed. He was on the fence. I was like, man, here's a code. Go try it out. That's what I got to say to these people. Go try it out. Talk to your friends. Look on Reddit. Reddit may be posting more beta codes out there. They did give away 10 last weekend. See if you can get into that if they add more. And try the game for yourself. And worst case scenario, even buy the game, try the beta, you don't like it, refund it. Like, just go out and try it. Make that decision for yourself.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to join me and be thorough with answers. And I will link to TinyPenny's content down below if you want to check out his Diablo Immortal and Diablo 4 content as well. So, yeah, thanks, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too, man.